Personal story segment tonight. Earlier today, the Senate voted 54 to 45 to confirm 49-year-old Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. He replaces the late Anthony Scalia. Joining us from Washington, Jonathan Turley, who teaches law at George Washington University. So is this good for the folks, Professor? Let's cut through the nuclear option and all this stuff. The regular people, regular Americans, many of whom don't even know who George Gorsuch is or what he does. Is this man going to improve the country for the folks?
I think he is going to improve the court. I think this country is better off when you have people who are intellectual leaders. You know, too often we select nominees because they're sort of blind dates or they've never had an interesting thought in their lives. We really need people who see a horizon that can describe where the law should go. And this is a conservative president that has a right to nominate a conservative person.
Well, how conservative is Mr. Gorsuch? How conservative?
Look, he is conservative. He's a textualist. I don't think that's a vice for a federal judge, but he stays close to the text. He's very conservative in how he interprets the Constitution. He looks back at the original intent behind these words. None of those things should bar him from the court. A lot of people share those views.
Sure, but the left, and you testified for Judge Gorsuch, right? I mean,
I did.
And what did you say? What was your theme?
Well, you know, I said that Gorsuch is something of a departure, a welcome departure, in that he does have a long record. He's not a blind date. We know what type of justice he would be, and he'll be a very good one. Now, people may not like his conclusions always, but I think he's an honest intellectual, and that honesty may take him across the ideological spectrum.
Well, that's what I said last night. I said there's a chance in some of these rulings that conservatives will be angry. It's not like Scalia. Scalia was a conservative who promoted that point of view. I've never seen Gorsuch promote that. Now,
well, you know, I think that's the key, is that for conservatives, I've said for months, you should be trying not to replace a conservative with a conservative, but an intellectual with an intellectual. And that's what Gorsuch is, and that's what Scalia was.
Okay. Do you believe that Judge Gorsuch, who will be sworn in on Monday morning, got caught up in the Trump hate campaign?
Oh, honestly, I don't see a basis to oppose Gorsuch. So I do think that he carried a lot of baggage into this. I think that a lot of Democratic senators didn't feel they could vote for him, which I think is a terrible shame.
Why? Why didn't they think they could vote for him? Three did.
Right.
Three did. Well, why did the others think they couldn't?
Because I think
what you're saying is true. He's an honest man, very smart, forward-looking, respects the Constitution above all. Why couldn't our Democratic elected senators vote for him?
Well, I think it's an example of the poisonous political times we live in. We can no longer separate people from our politics. We can no longer accept that someone can be conservative and yet be an honest, good-faith jurist, which I believe Judge and now Justice Gorsuch is.
Now, Senator Feinstein from California said something very interesting, that she couldn't vote for Gorsuch because he didn't believe that the Constitution was a living document that evolves as society evolves. So I guess if it's a living document, you have to feed it and walk it. But that's why she couldn't vote for him, no matter how brilliant or honest. It had to be a justice who believes in evolution of the Constitution. Your head must have blown off when you heard that.
Well, I thought that was a particularly sad moment because I have great reservations about the concept of living Constitution because I don't know how it's defined, and I've been in this field a long time.
I'll tell you how it's defined. It's defined by your ideology. Whatever you think is the right policy, that's how it's defined. Well, I think
that there's this broad spectrum that includes now Justice Gorsuch on Monday, that people often separate originalists from living constitutionalists. There's this great middle of good faith jurists that try to get it right. In the case of Judge Gorsuch, he starts with the original meaning of the term. That happens to be a place where I start. But to portray that view as out of the mainstream is perfectly bizarre.
No, and I think you see in the polls. Two more things real quick. Second Amendment is now bolstered by Judge Gorsuch. I think you'd agree with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Second Amendment people, right to bear arms, they're in good shape tonight. And religious people, their respect and their rights under the law, that's bumped up too.
Well, Bill, there's a major case that he is going to hit the court just in time to hear the Trinity Lutheran Church case. It is a huge case.
Tell me what that is, please.
Because this is a church that was denied funds to repave their playground because they're a religious organization, but other groups, other non-for-profits were given that funding. And the church said, look, that's not fair. Just because we're a religious group, we're still a non-for-profit. This is a case that could have far-reaching implications for how we handle what are called the religion clauses of the First Amendment.
Yeah, because I think religious people should be celebrating over the weekend, and it's Palm Sunday and everything. You know, that was a good discussion there, Professor.
Thanks, Bill.
You didn't come across as a pinhead. Very refreshing. Everybody, I even understood it. I mean, if I can understand it, you did a great job. We appreciate it.